Hello YouTube, we're on the Real Programming channel and I'm its host. My name is Andrei. I greet you, welcome. This is our 37th lesson. We're talking about HTML and JavaScript and topic how to make a request from JavaScript using XML HTTP request. So we know we can retrieve data with HTTP, but how? We're going to write little code to create an actual HTTP request and then ask the browser to make the request on our behalf. After it's made the request, the browser will hand us back the data it receives. Let's step toward making an HTTP request. And step 1. To kick things off, we'll start with the URL. After all, we need to tell the browser where to get the data we're after. And exactly, don't forget, you will find all the code and materials of this lesson under this video and description link. Here is our URL at someserver.com. For example, that.json here signifies a format for exchanging data. We'll come back to this in a bit. And let's stash the URL in a variable URL, which we'll use in a sec. Step 2. Next, we'll create a request object like this. We're assigning the request object to the variable request. And we use the XML HTTP request constructor to create a new request object. We'll talk about the XML part of that in a bit. A brand new XML HTTP request object. And step 3. Next, we need to tell the request object which URL we want it to retrieve along with the kind of request it should use. We'll use the standard HTTP GET request like we saw on the previous page. To do this, we'll use the request objects open method. Now open sounds like a method that not only sets these values in the request object, but also opens the connection and retrieves the data. It doesn't, despite the name open, just sets up the request with the URL and tells the request object the kind of request to use, so that XML HTTP request can verify the connection. Here is how we call the open method. And a brand new XML HTTP request object. The updated XML HTTP request object that knows where it's going. And again, let's look on this code. This sets up a request for us using an HTTP GET request, which is the standard means of retrieving HTTP data, and also set up the request to use the URL stored in our URL variable. Step 4. Here is the important part and the trick of how XML HTTP request works. When we finally ask our XML HTTP request object to retrieve data, it's going to go off on its own and get the data. It might take 90 milliseconds, quite a while in the compute time, or on a slow day, it might take 10 seconds and eternity in the compute time. So rather than just waiting around for the data, we are going to provide a handler that is called when the data arrives. Here is how you set up the handler. This should look somewhat familiar. Our request object. When the browser gets an answer from the remote web service, it calls this function. The handler first needs to check if the return code is 200 or OK, and then it can do something with the data. For now, we'll just alert the user the data is here. We'll fill this in with more meaningful code soon. Step 5. Just one last step. We'll still need to tell the request to go out and get the data, and to do that we use the send method. This sends the request to the server. We push null if we're not sending any data to the remote service, which we're not. So, to review, we create an XML HTTP request object, load it with a URL and HTTP request type along with a handler. Then we send the request and wait for the data to arrive. When it doesn't, the handler is called. Server IO guide request for you. Good to see. Think well with 256 code. Better call my handler now and give it this data. Great, here is your data. One thing I didn't notice is how we get the data from the HTTP call. I see the download function, but no code to access the data. Did I miss something? How to access an HTTP response? We just hadn't quite got there yet. The data from the HTTP GET retrieval can be found in the response text property of the request object, so we can write code like this. This function is called when the request has received a response. We can get the response from the response text property of the request object. But hang on, we're just about to the point of writing some real code that uses request.response text. And exercise code magnets. A new web service at http://smart.com. I feel lucky today. I will show you address. Returns either unlucky or lucky each time you hit it. The logic is based on a secret and incident algorithm we can't reveal, but it's a great service to let users know if they're lucky or not on a given day. We need your help to create a reference implementation to show others how they might include it in their site. You'll find the skeleton code below. Help us fill in the details using the magnets. Be careful, you may not need all the magnets. We already done one for you. Your magnets go here. If you like it today, wanna be sure use this service. And let's look on solution if you're ready. If not, take a pause. This is our solution. Your magnets should be here. Leftover magnets. This is and so on. Exactly, don't forget again, if you're not listening here, you will find all the code materials of this lesson under this video in description. And introducing JSON. More over XML, meet JSON. We will talk about this in the next lesson, a quick example using JSON. And here is our 37 lesson about JavaScript and HTML is over. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put likes, share with friends and comment. Eat bananas, chocolate and nuts, meditate, drink more water for the brain, do exercise every evening. Don't forget this, and so on. Thank you. Bye.